coach's office.
Yeah, so we're giving you a bit of the whiskey barrel in with this. I'll put it over there. A little bit of kilt, a bit of bush, because we're all about the bush. And of course our blackboard wall for writing shit on. With chalk.
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 As opposed to our blood.
Tonight's episode is going to be all about how to do your first push-up. Now, there may be some of you out there that can absolutely smash push-ups. Good for you. Happy days. But there might be some of you out there that thinks either I can't do push-ups or there's no way I'd ever be able to do push-ups.
Yes, so if you're watching this, we have called this How to Do Your First Push-Up. If you're watching this and you can already do push-ups, then good for you. Well done. And I hope you just come along for our smiles and a bit of banter. But for everybody else who can't quite do push-ups yet, we're going to guide you through a simple process. It really is a simple process between what you definitely can do and something that you cannot do. And we're going to give you every stage of the way so that you know where to start and how to make progress.
Now, first and foremost, you must start with the belief that it is possible. Now, I used to teach a class up at a hall for many, many years. When I went to that class, there was 10 to 15 ladies aged from early 40s right up to 60s. Right, they came regularly and off they went. And there was one week I decided to be extra harsh. I was like, right, press ups, and everyone's going to be on their toes. They're like, I can't do press ups from my toes. And I got things like, ladies can't do press ups. I got every excuse in the book. And I was like, are you finished? Let's get them done. So what they did was they got up and they were like, right, okay, and they realised I wasn't messing around, so they just gave it their best shot. And that was the most amazing thing, because they did exactly that. They gave it their best shot. Now, as the weeks went by, they were getting better, they were getting deeper into them. And then it wasn't until I think a couple of months later, I was teaching one of the sessions and a couple of new people had come along, and it came to press ups, and I saw what happened. The new people were doing them from their knees. Now, with any session, you work from your own level, but they looked left and right, and everyone either side of them were all doing them from the toes. So what did the two new people do? Straight on their toes and gave it a shot, and they did pretty decent half press ups from the toes first time at the class. So I had everyone in a line doing press ups, push ups, whichever way you want to call them. The bottom line is it all comes from belief, because people will tell you they can't do something. I can't do push ups. There's no way I could ever do push ups. And the minute you don't believe you can do something, you won't be able to do it.
Whether you believe you can or you cannot, you're right. So we're going to guide you through a process today of the physical nature of a press up and how that you can build things up so you can do a full push up. Once you can do one full push up, is then just repetition, repetition, repetition until you can do two in one go. But before we get there, I just want to reiterate what Rab was just saying, is that power of belief. The mindset factor on doing push ups is vital. Hopefully by the end of today, you'll know exactly where you are in your push-up journey, and you say, right, I know I can do this type of push-up, but not necessarily this type of push-up. But the main thing that you will require is that mindset of, I might not be able to do a full push-up just yet, but I will. If it means something to you, if you think, do you know what, that's going to be a good sense of achievement. And do you know what, if you're watching this right now thinking, I don't care about push-ups, then great, you don't have to do push-ups to be worthy of love or acceptance or anything else. It's just something that we get asked about a lot.
Now, if you're watching this for a bit of fun, what I would recommend is making this into a drinking game. And every time we use the word push-up, you have to take a shot. Because I was aware that I said it about 5 to 10 times. And then when I noticed I was saying all that you're saying, so if anybody can keep score for us, that would be great. Okay, so first and foremost, meet the push-up where you are initially. So that's variations of the push-up. You've got your standard push-up on the toes, the one they use in various tests for military and various services and whatnot. There's easier versions. You then go into the toes and drop the knees. That's another variation you can do it. Hand position can change. You can elevate your upper body. You might have heard of window push-ups. And there's all the fancy ones like one taking the leg away, one in hand.
I think before you start getting into the ins and outs of what level of push-up you're doing, it's really important to factor in the movement itself. Okay, what is required? What is a movement? So what Rab's demonstrating there is, as you're doing a push-up, this top part of your arm should be roughly 45 degrees. Okay, so it's hands roughly in line with your shoulders, and top part of your arms at 45 degrees. You can do push-ups wider like this, and you can do push-ups with the elbows tucked in. They're both variations of different types of push-ups. But what we're going to do, in terms of say push-ups now?
I think we're up to in our 30s. But someone else is hopefully keeping score.
So, yes, once you can factor in a push-up, then we can look at different techniques. That's maybe for a different video altogether. But for now, we're going to be talking about your standard push-ups. Hands in line with your shoulders and top part of your arms at 45 degrees. Now, above and beyond that, you also want a very strong core. So I would say that, can you hold a plank for at least 5 to 10 seconds? Because that's how long it's going to take you to do a push-up. And if you can't even hold a plank for 5 to 10 seconds, then you've got no hope of doing a push-up. It's like somebody who's trying to do a pull-up but can't even hold their own body weight with straight arms because the grip strength is just not there. Work on your grip strength first for pull-ups, and for push-ups, work on a straight arm plank. Can you put your body weight on your hands with a strong core? Okay, so I'm going to use the blackboard for this. Oof. Let's use some green. Now, you see it here. So, a normal push-up, now again, we're going to talk about variations in a second.
I think we're up to 40 by the way.
Okay, so there, and arm. Okay, that's where your head is. Okay, so that's then your, can you see that okay? I think you can. Okay, so you're looking for a nice strong core, and you want, if anything, a slight sort of curvature of your back upwards, rather than need a duster, rather than a lot of what you see is this. Okay, when the core is just so weak that the hips are just dipping down and all your body weight is hanging on your spine. We do not want that. So grab this in a second. Okay, so we don't want your belly hanging down. Nice, strong, which means abs are tight and glutes are tight. People think your glutes, your bum muscles, that's not part of a push-up. Absolutely is. Your push-ups are vital for a push-up. So strong glutes and strong abs. And can you just hold that position?
Now, some of the issues that the majority of people we've worked with over the many years have is sometimes it comes down to a wrist factor, okay, in that position. Some of the variations, so if you get into that position for your push-up, 41, and that is going for the wrists, and that's very, very common. Two things you can do. One, you can be hardcore and make a fist, okay?
Cobra Kai!
Cobra Kai! Till you die! Or two, if you can get yourself handles, or if you're in a gym environment, hold a kettlebell in each hand or a dumbbell, plonk them down, and what that does is your wrist is in a much stronger position when you make a fist. Sometimes when you're doing push-ups, 42, you can lean forward too much and put a lot of pressure over and through the wrist, okay? Which when your wrist is in this position, it makes it far more comfortable. So first and foremost, assume the position, assess the position. Right, is anything sore? Are the wrists sore? Yeah or nay? Is the back, how's that posture going? Where are you feeling it? Once you've assumed the position and once you've assessed the position, it's time to do some push-ups, 43.
So first and foremost, again, look at this position. Do this in a mirror. Okay, just stand up. This is not a push-up, but put your hands like this, and can you create that movement? Once you've created that movement, then the very, very first time, some people might just want to go try a push-up, okay? And if that's you, then great. But you might be watching this right now thinking, I can't even begin to imagine doing a full push-up. So great, can you do this movement, yes or no? Chances are you're going to say, yes, I can do that movement, Stephen, thank you. Then what you do is then you say, okay, well, what's the next variation of that? It's literally using a wall. I'm going to have my back to the camera.
Barrel, or use a barrel maybe?
Yeah, but even something slightly higher than that, it's just a slight kind of angle from here, and then all you're going to do is lean forward into a wall and then push back up. Can you do that variation of a push-up? Okay, because when you do that push-up, what you're doing, you're starting to build up some blood flow into these muscles, into the chest muscles, into the triceps, into the front of the shoulders, and even a little bit into the core and the glutes, because they're going to be maintaining a nice strong position as you do that. And then once you can say, Joe, if you find that difficult, then keep going. If you find it difficult, if you find it easy, then you can start to move on. And then something like barrel.
And the slower you come down, the more you bring yourself horizontal, the more weight and load you're going to increase through the upper body, and the harder the push-up, I think that's number 50 by the way, becomes. There are ways when you get into advanced techniques where you then start to lift the legs up and whatnot, and that increases the load coming through, but at the moment this is how to do your first push-up, 51.
Yeah. So starting upright, can you create the movement, and then there is an infinite number of angles all the way down. until you get to that point where you think, this is challenging. Once you get there, then it's a case of now we can start things like, okay, well, can we go into a full push-up position, but then on the knees? Okay, so you're on the floor, but you're on the knees. Build up on the knees for a little while, again, get used to that movement. The knees idea is good. It's not perfect because with your knees bent, your thighs are then not required to maintain straight legs. Your glutes don't work quite as much because there's less distance between the point of contact with your hands and the point of contact with your legs. Normally it's your feet, but with your knees it's a little bit shorter, so it's not quite the same dynamic, but it can allow you to then get hands on the floor and still creating that full movement from the chest.
Once you've then got that in place, there's 3 different tactics at least that you can approach, okay? So the first one you can approach is partial reps or half reps. Like, how low can you go?
Hello, can you go?
Now sometimes it's literally an inch or two's movement, right? Just a little bit. And the person's like, oh, this doesn't feel like I'm doing a full rep. But that's okay. If you're in that position, you're testing the boundaries. Partial reps are absolutely okay, so long as you're doing them safely when you're trying to do the movement, when you're trying to learn a new exercise, if you like. After partial reps, you've then got a mixture of either holds, come down, holding the position, which we're going to build real strength through the muscle, or you can work off what's known as the eccentric movements, which is what they call the negative part of rep. And that's where real strength comes in all muscle movements. So in a press up position, the eccentric is the lowering as you're coming down, and the concentric is when you're pushing yourself back up. But the strength is built in eccentric. So most people that struggle to do a push-up, or as Stephen mentioned earlier, a pull-up, they struggle to get themselves back up. You'll see someone go, oh, okay, they get down close to the floor, and then when they go to push, they flatten out. But what they don't realise is that attempt actually made them that fraction of a bit stronger, because they came down, they hit slowly, they hit, and then it's okay to collapse. Then you get yourself back in position and you try again. Those are eccentric movements, okay? Or negative reps.
And the slower you go, the more strength you're going to build. As you slowly but surely lower yourself to the floor, you get to stage. For most people, if you can't do a push-up, most people will bend their arms and they go, yep, and they'll get so far and they'll go, ah, and they'll just collapse. And that's fine. Even from there to there is enough to start to build up that strength. And in time, you just then start to get a little bit lower, or you may just have to lower yourself down a little bit faster. But take your time and feel the movement, feel the position. Squeeze your abs, squeeze the glutes, and just slow as much as you possibly can. Eccentrics, certainly, I think for you as well, has been one of favourite methods to build people up to these push-ups. Yes, we can talk about angles and we can build yourself down, making it easier along the way, but at some point, you've then got to get onto the floor, and looking at that full push-up position and movement, eccentrics is that vital step that most people overlook.
So having a belief in the very beginning is, right, I can do this and it's going to take time. And then having the approach, like trying to just assume the position first and then assess the position. Find out, how are your wrists when you're trying to hold that? How's your hips, your back? Can you even hold that? Do you have to drop the knees? Do you have to elevate the upper body? Remember that elevating the upper body, put your hands somewhere higher, takes the load off the chest, shoulders and tricep, which is ultimately your prime movers for that one. And it's just about assessing, well, what can you do and what level you can do it at. Once you've got to that, then you can bring in those techniques that we're telling you about. So basically you can have partial reps, holds, eccentric as well. And these are all, and of course, the actual full movement as you can, if you can get it.
There's another thing, so you get these big elastic bands, some of you have maybe got them. I'm talking about the really big thick ones that you loop over a bar and you can then help to do pull-ups and stuff like this. If you've got a big elastic band, big thick elastic bands, what you can do is just twist it slightly, an end in each hand, and then put it around your back, so then the strap, the elastic band is going over your back, and all you can do is then start to create that press-up movement, but with the elastic band, and as you're stretching the elastic band, it can become quite difficult, depending on the size of the elastic band, of course. So once you've done all these different methods, building yourself up, getting that strength element is really, really important. Then complement it with lots more blood flow, because the issue that you've got with trying to do your first push-up is because you're not strong enough to do one, it's hard to create enough blood supply into those muscles to bring all the nutrients to repair them. And therefore, like, what can you do? Well, it's about creating enough tension through the same movement, so that's why the elastic bands can be good, or an elevated surface, just to get a few more repetitions. And what you'll find is your muscles start to burn a little bit, they'll start to become a little bit more inflamed because all the blood's going into it, they become pumped up, and this is really, really good for building up that strength.
Boom.
Right, so go to the comments. My computer's over here, so please
If
excuse me.
anybody has been counting, I think we're nearly 100 for the term push-up by now, I would think.
Well, there's one more.
There's another one, there's 101. It would be an epic push-up drinking game. Right, where are we?
Thing is, if we said it 100 times, it'd actually be a good training session as well. Every time we say push-up, do another
To do a
push-up.
push-up, yeah. Sign back in.
Sign back in.
Oh no, I'm in. Hold on. Switch account. 2 seconds, everybody.
2 seconds.
I've signed out of Google.
Signed you out of Google.
Hmm.
It's not so good.
No, wrong one. Oh. I guess I'm going to sign in and I've done the wrong one. Sorry everybody, I'm getting on it. It's that Wednesday vibe. Come on, it's my password, believe me. It's my bus. Right, hold on. There we go. Now where's my video? Where are we? Your channel. There we are. How to do your for these two twangers posing.
There we go.
Right, so
Hello
Andrew.
from Orkney.
Orkney?
Oh, that was Kendra. Huh.
Oh, Kendra, happy
Kendra's
days.
in Orkney. Oh, I'm a wee bit jealous of that.
Andrew says, greetings from Houston. I've enjoyed all your videos. I think you two are awesome.
Thanks. Thomas, hello guys from California. Piyush, hello boys.
Rob says, what do you lads think about push-up bars? Are they any good? So as we were saying earlier about the positioning of your wrist, absolute push-up bars allow you to then grip the bar. We mentioned earlier you could use a dumbbell.
They also allow you to get a little bit deeper into it. If you've got strength, this is not for doing your first push-up. Yeah, for the wrist strength element to it. But if once you get used to push-ups, push-up bars also allow you to get that a little bit deeper into it because obviously you're slightly off the floor. So
plus you also get those bars now that they rotate, so it allows you to then turn your wrist as you come down, and you get a bit of rotational movement coming through, which is quite nice too. So yeah, absolutely.
If we do the drinking game, how many push-ups drink can we do by the end of this segment? So we reckoned it was about 100, but maybe not. Push-ups.
I think what you'd have to do is get on the floor, put a straw in your drink, and every time you go down, you take a slurp and then you push back
So
up.
push-ups and you're drinking.
Yeah, at the same time.
So if you are playing right now, push-up, 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 push-up.
Michael saying, Stephen with the guns.
Go over the knees, not directly on top. Cheryl, I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Go over the knees, not directly on top.
As in, like, does you mean lean forward, not... Because, you know, if your body was at a right angle, you'd be technically directly over your knees.
Yeah.
Or directly on top of your
I would
knees.
say, yes, your knees should be... This position here, we'll use the chalk again. If you are going to do something on your knees, there's different ways of doing it. Because ultimately, you could do a no-handed push-up if you're on your knees, because what happens is you're on your knees here, and if your hips are further back than your knees, say here, and you're coming there, then you can actually balance in that position anyway. So if you are going to do your knees, then what's really important, we'll do that one as well, is you try to maintain that rough position. So if you're here, hands are coming down. If you're doing your knees, you should be roughly there, coming down to the knees and then there. So your hips are there and your knees are here. That's the hardest position on the knees, but if you're even struggling with that, what you can do is just bring your knees more under your hips. So rather than coming all the way back there, they're about here. And it makes it a little bit easier because there's less body weight on your arms.
Heather says, for planks and push-ups, I've been using fists because my athletic wrist won't go flat. If I'll try holding a barbell or kettlebell, thanks for the idea, it'll save my knuckles. Absolutely. And gripping onto something just puts your wrist in a nice strong position. Or if you wanted to go out like Rob was saying and get yourself push-up bars, again, that's fantastic for the wrists.
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony, I miss being able to do weighted plyometric push-ups on an aerobic step. Oh, sounds like you're pretty strong, Anthony, if you're doing plyometric push-ups.
Obeid is on. Where's Obeid from?
Obeid, is it London?
It's London!
Hey,
Obaid
Obaid
from
from
London.
London.
I enjoy your knowledge. Bless you. You're very welcome, Obaid.
Thanks,
you.
Obaid. Catherine says, I do push-ups against the kitchen counter. I already feel my shoulders and arms getting stronger. Yes, Catherine.
Do you think it's Obaid or do you think it's Obaid?
I think Obaid, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
EID, isn't it?
EID, I know, but I was just reflecting and thinking, what if it's not?
What if it's not?
What if it's not? Are you Obaid or Obaid?
Or Obaid.
Oh, it might be, yeah. Michael says, recovering from hip surgery and follow a regular PT routine, but I don't get much more useful information from you coaches. Next up, push-ups. Thank you, coaches, for this great. But I get much more information. He says you don't get much more information. I was like, oh, that one too. That one I mentioned. But anyway, thank you for this great advice. You're very welcome, Michael. I misread that.
And anyone who's taking a sip for each time you say push-ups probably isn't going to be vertical by the end of this tutorial, so they might have to pick the rest of the video up tomorrow. Yes. We actually don't advise you taking a drink every time we said push-up, because that would just be irresponsible of us coaches.
But we meant water, right?
Of course we did.
Hell yes. Hell no H2O. Name the movie.
Coyote Ugly.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I am Blessed 14. Thank you both for the information and encouragement, especially with the eccentric push-ups. I will still struggle with a regular push-up, so I'll start with eccentric ones. That's where you're going to get the strength building as well. And when you do 5 reps of those, okay, and then even if you collapse and reset, you'll find very quickly your strength will go right up.
I used to have a little just a routine that I did with one particular client, and I said knees on the way up, feet on the way down. So it was like on the toes, lower yourself down, put the knees on the floor, push yourself back up, because you're still getting that concentric movement, you're still getting the strength of pushing up, but then as soon as you're up, go back onto the toes, lower yourself down. So it's knees up, toes down, knees up, toes down, and it worked really well.
Susan's on. Hi boys, late to the party at work, and she gave us the donation. Gunshot Susan,
Yes.
thanking you.
Pat, I have arthritis in both hands. Push up on anything using my thumbs is so painful. What do you recommend for arm strengthening? So again, if you might want to consider push-up grips to help you do your first push-ups, and if not, then it's just elevated surfaces. Anything that, even just making a fist, because it's not on your thumb, then is it?
Shout out to Patty. She says good morning. Good morning, Patty.
And our Sarah's on. Hi guys, I couldn't do a press up at all. Gradually building up, still not perfect, but working on it. Sarah, we know you're really pushing forward with your progress, and your mindset is absolutely spot on. So no doubt that you will smash this.
I'm at the bottom of the YouTube comments.
How are you? I've got Teno uma pequena academia portel en casa que me traz ótimos resultados, which is I have a small portable gym at home that gets me great results. Edgar, thank you for the little comment.
Oh, was that the translation that did that?
Yeah.
I thought you were just having a laugh, because it sounded like what you translated was this big long speech, and then I thought you just made up the next bit because it was like a one-liner.
It's like one of those the language learning courses with Rosetta Stone. It's like, por favor, escuelo, por favor. The bread is in the oven. Cheryl had breast surgery 7 years ago and it still hurts, but I do it anyway. I always make a fist because I have weak wrists. So Cheryl, you maybe got a bit of tightness around your chest if you had surgery, so I would maybe suggest do some stretches for that. Raymond can't feel his arms.
We'll try and get the Facebook comments.
I was really fit when I was in my 20s. I miss what I used to be able to do. Anthony, you're never too old, get back on it. Some stars and some stars. Thank you for all the variations. I cannot kneel because of knee issues, so I have to do my push-ups against the counter or table. So Paula, yeah, absolutely. If you can't go on your knees, then just use the elevated surface instead. U2 DWF, getting a little plump. Oh really, Simon? Oh really? Paula, my question is it better to have elbows out or in close? Paula, I'm not too sure if you caught the start of this live, but we talked about elbows at 45 degrees from your shoulders, okay? So This is known as a tricep push-up or military push-up. This can be a wide angle push-up, and both are okay for different reasons. But what we're talking about today is how to do your first push-up, and therefore 45 degrees with the arms. Simon, who suggested we get a lot of pump, he says, what have you been up to? Clearly been eating too many cakes, Simon, according to you.
We actually did have a cake today, I think.
Holly's on. Holly, perfect chaps, thank you. You're very welcome.
Stephen says, is that noise a Hoover or your laptop? There was a Hoover outside.
Stephanie asked exactly the same question.
Oh. We've got Linda. Hi Stephen Rabb, I can't get any upper body exercises done due to fractured shoulder and wrist. Can you suggest something to do? So you can't do any upper body exercise due to fracture shoulders and wrist. So rest the upper body while it's shoulder and wrist.
Don't try and get more strength in the upper body if you've got fractured shoulders and wrists.
Focus on the leggies. Susan says, going to have to watch from the beginning, always looking to improve, and Michael gave us a donation. Good shot, Michael, thank you.
I always get a sore back trying to do full push-ups. Knees was always better. Now I know why. Helen, yep, you've got it spot on.
Cheryl says, when you do push-ups, I think she was meaning with under the hip, didn't she? Cheryl,
yep. More on the thighs. In fact, did we read the same comment? Is that noise a Hoover or your laptop? Who did you say it was?
I think he said it. Hold on, Oh, I saw Stephanie Parry said it, but somebody else said it.
Michael, maybe?
Yeah, because one. Or maybe I misread.
Maybe we read both the same comment. When you do push-ups, hi.
Paul from Atlanta, I recently spoke to one of your wee lassies about joining the programme, but by the time we spoke, I'd managed to strain my hip flexor. I am much better, but would working on push-ups delay recovery? What did you injure?
Hip flexor.
Hip flexor. Oh, you'd be okay there. I've been watching you through COVID and was about to buy in when I hurt myself. So, Paul,
doors are closed now anyway, so you won't be able to join until the summer.
But we do have the Motivation Masterclass.
Which will really help you.
Yeah.
Definitely look to register for the Motivation Masterclass. You will find the link on our Facebook. We just posted it again today. There is only 100 spaces maximum for non-members. Members do get it free. So yeah, register for that. It's definitely worth your socks.
Your shocks. Barb says strategically placed prop. It is actually. Whiskey to cover our whiskey.
How long and often for a beginner with no prior training, says Billy. Regular and often. Regular is often.
Regular and often.
Depending on what else you've got going on. So we're not going to get into sort of programming because we don't know about your lifestyle, your training, your background. All we're doing is giving you tips on how to do your first push-up. But if you want to do your first push-up and you've got nothing else on, you need to be doing this at least a couple of times a week.
Still nothing on YouTube, eh? Anyone got a question for me? No?
Beth, if the problem for push-ups is a joint issue on one side only, bone chip catches an elbow, both down and up, what is the best action to move forward? Planks are no problem. Yeah, so if you've got a real joint issue with one of your arms, push-ups is probably not the best exercise for you. As much as we're giving this tutorial on how to do your first push-up, you've really got to ask that question, is this the right exercise for me? Because it's not for everybody.
Helen says, love knees up, toes down. And then Stephanie says, bugger, I missed the beginning. Are we able to watch again? Yes, Stephanie, at the end of the live, you'll get it on Facebook or YouTube and just scroll back and watch the beginning.
Yep, cool.
Oh, Linda says, guys, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us all. Have a great evening. You're in and out tonight, Linda. Good job.
Susan, I've been working on my military push-ups to help with tricep strength for a low end of my bench press. Cool, yeah.
Happy days.
Good way of doing it.
Yeah.
And Kelly says, oh, hello, caught you live. Enjoy your day. Thanks, Kelly. Thank you.
Satavos McDorn is notified.
What is the big barrel, by the way, says Cheryl? It's our whiskey barrel.
We should just put straws on the top.
It's where we keep our enemies. In fact, that Simon's going to be in there soon. First calling us plump. You okay in there?
We're in a bulking phase. Anthony says, might as well have a dram or two tonight. It's been 2 months since I had some. Good for you and your 2 months.
Cool. And Tavos McDorn says, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. Private joke.
And that's the end of the comments.
Yeah.
Right, guys, if there's nothing else for us, we will disappear.
So what to shout about, our doors are now closed, so we had them open, shut, and then they're closed now for the spring. So if you were looking to work with us,
You can with the Motivation Masterclass, which can sometimes be enough to springboard you forward into getting amazing results. It's a 4-day masterclass, starts with a live coaching session with us. Then there's 4 days worth of lessons that you'll basically get our app downloaded. You'll also get access to our website, you get access to the forum, and then it finishes with a live feed. And you'll also get the MP3 download of our pep talk, which is, we're just actually adding a little bit to it as well, because we recorded it and it sounds awesome, and we're like, no, it needs this bit as well. So we're actually going to redo it and add this little bit in. So you'll get that download, and that's yours for free, whether you remain as a member or not. It's just yours to keep.
it's as powerful as listening to Eye of the Tiger for the first time. Bump, 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 bump. You want to go out and run?
Yeah. Imagine Eye of the Tiger, but with a Scottish accent.
Yeah. I was actually trying to imagine.
So is that
I'm not going to attempt a line of bitching it.
dear. Cool. The barrel is big enough, says Cheryl.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
It's a bit wobbly these days. When we first got it, it was saturated with water, and therefore obviously it slightly expands. But since we've had it in office and obviously a bit of heating, it's dried up, and therefore it's become very, very wobbly, and I'm making it even worse by doing this. So I should probably stop it.
But he won't. Right, everybody. We will love you and leave you. So that's it for another Live at 5.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hope those tips were beneficial.
Always appreciate your time.
If you are starting to, or give a good go at your first push-up.
Let us know how it goes.
50 who've done that now, right?
Yeah, if you're going to do a push-up based on our advice today, please just drop a comment into any post that we ever post. Any latest post, just put it like, hey, listen to your Live at 5, how to do your first push-up, and thanks to you, I can now do a push-up. Just let us know, because we love to get feedback. We love our job, but speaking to a camera, it's kind of like, it's okay. We're coaches by nature, and we were born coaches.
Yeah.
And we get most of our satisfaction from when clients report back that they have taken advice, they've taken some action, and they've got some kind of result. That's what makes us thrive. So please do let us know.
We win when you win.
Exactly. Right.
Right, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye.
Tally-ho.